Game 2, Kisstafer switches to a Warlock deck. So let's take a look at Kisstafer's Warlock deck. It is, again, his name's not helping us at all. So look at it.
We'll just have to look at it and figure it out. This is this looks to me like an aggro deck with a couple of interesting tweaks here. I have a feeling that Kisstafer was running up against a lot of paladins and warriors before, maybe rogues as well, on the ladder, because this is the aggro deck that has all the 1-drops. So you get the Argent Squire, the Blood Imps. This is the old Blood Imp, by the way. That's the OP Blood Imp. It's got the Flame Imps, and it's got the Young Priestess, which was another 1-drop that made it into a lot of Warlock decks because it's kind of like Blood Imp Light, you know. It's not stealthed, and at the end of the turn, it gives 1 health to a random minion on your side of the board.
Right, so it actually works a lot more like the current iteration of the Blood Imp.
Yes, except instead of a 0/1 with stealth, it's a 2/1 without stealth. So it can also do a little damage as well. For 1 mana, it's a pretty good card.
It's also very, very easy to kill.
It is, absolutely. There's 3 classes that can kill it just with their hero ability, and then there's a lot of other ways to take it out as well.
Acidic Swamp Ooze isn't going to come in too handy against another Warlock, unless, I guess you could keep it in your hand until Jaraxxus pops up.
That's the thing I was going to say, is that actually, against this Warlock deck, now that he knows Jaraxxus is in there, he's got Acidic Swamp Ooze and he's got Harrison Jones. So if one of those enters his hand and there's not a turn where he must play them, he's probably going to hold on to those things until Jaraxxus. That'll be interesting.
You put that in the bank and you collect interest on that, and knowing what you know about your opponent's Warlock deck in this scenario.
This is the one thing about this format that gives the advantage to the player that switches decks, which is why you'll often see... Well, okay, I'll say this. Sometimes you see the deck that just one deck that just steamrolls everything, right? Yeah. That happens sometimes.
Right.
But a lot of times what you see is a little back and forth because of the fact that you can specifically choose a deck you think will counter the deck the opponent is playing. So you do see a lot of games go to like Game 7 with this style. And we'll see if that happens here. So he also has all the buff cards. He's got the Harvest Golems. He's got Knife Jugglers, which is pretty good, I think, in these. I run Knife Jugglers in my kind of control/aggro Warlock deck, which this is what it looks like. But then he's also got stuff like Black Knight and Deathwing. Now, Black Knight's probably going to be very useful here because of the 8/8s with Taunt, which is kind of a staple of apDrop's deck. So, if the game will go long unless Kisstafer can just completely out aggro and run over apDrop, which I don't see happening. But
absolutely,
I think we'll see the Black Knight come into play here.
Just reanalyzing apDrop's Warlock deck real quick, because I was going to say the Knife Jugglers are a great way to deal with Blood Imps, but
they do not exist in
apDrop's not using Blood Imps. So
yeah. So that's one of the only type of Warlock that doesn't use the Blood Imp is that Giants Warlock. There's just no space for them. They don't care about giving any of their minions more health because they already have a ton of health. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup. I've definitely seen both types of Warlock. It's gonna come down to the draws. Is really what it's going to come down to. If Kisstafer can get all of his ducks in a row early on, he's just going to completely run over apDrop. But if apDrop can sustain for the first few turns without completely losing board control or wipe the board at some point, I think his Giants and Twilight Drakes and the Taunts and the Ancient Watchers are just going to be too much to handle, and Kisstafer won't be able to remove them all.
Right.
So I think it's going to be interesting. Let's see what happens.
Let's get into the first mirror matchup of this tournament with apDrop up 1 game against Kisstafer. It's Warlock versus Warlock. Let's watch it.
Hot Warlock on Warlock action right here.
Yeah. Keep your kids out of the room. So
all right, I have no idea who's on top or bottom right now.
No, this is the problem with not having...
There we go. Drax is on the bottom. That's apDrop. Okay.
So apDrop's on the bottom, opting to mulligan his Jaraxxus, which is a good call since a 9-drop card isn't coming out anytime soon.
What he wants is Mountain Giants. That's what he wants early on. And he did not get them.
Not getting what he wants, but he still has 2 more turns to hopefully draw that.
Kisstafer had a opening hand with 3 1-drops in it, which is pretty epic when you are an aggro lock. meaning he can start with one and then follow up with 2 more. So,
right, so
I think that's what's going to happen.
2, he can drop his Squire and his Priestess, which just starts buffing the Squire or the Flame Imp, both of which not a good thing for the opponent.
No,
either of those minions with more than the health that they came out with is a pain to deal with. And we get a Molten Giant.
So this is actually an interesting turn here for apDrop, because if you just tap, which is what he's going to do, you run the risk of getting really low really quick. However, he does have the Molten Giant in hand, which means that getting low is not a terrible thing, but you got to be careful doing this.
Absolutely. He's getting down there. The Molten Giant's already down to costing 9 mana.
Yeah, and you can see here that Kisstafer is just going to continue on with Reckless Abandon. Just keep loading the board. However, Hellfire comes out. It's going to clear all but 2 of them.
And take the Divine Shield off of that Argent Squire, which is it's a nice side effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. We'll see a tap here, and just the Young Priestess come out, and then a couple more swings to the face. Continuing to lower apDrop's health. However, apDrop may not be too concerned. He's got both Siphon Souls in his hand. He's also got an Earthen Ring Farseer. He's got a lot of ways to get his health back up after he drops the Molten Giant. Which
now costs a measly 3 mana.
Yeah. However, he cannot play the Molten Giant and taunt it up in the same turn, which is a little bit of an issue. I still think you just play it here, because next turn you will be able to play a couple of ways to taunt it up. You got Sun Fury, and you've also got Defender of Argus. So I don't think you Soulfire anything on this board, though. But I guess he's going to. Yeah, he's going to get rid of the Young Priestess.
Yeah,
okay.
He's at 13. Yeah, that's a tough call, because there's already 6 damage on board. So if he could do any more damage, that Molten Giant would have been a goner.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of a problem, because Sylvanas comes out, and Sylvanas is going to steal this Giant unless he gets something else out on the board. So it looks like he's going to throw that out. He'll probably just taunt up just the Farseer. Oh, he's going to taunt up both. Interesting. I guess it didn't matter if he taunted up just one or all of them, because
between the Squire and the Golem, they could have just killed off the Farseer, and well, there goes the Molten Giant.
So Black Knight, as we predicted, comes into play and does work, killing an 8/8 with Taunt.
Yeah, that's why Black Knight is a popular card. Anytime Taunt control decks come back into the meta, the Black Knight becomes an indispensable card in your arsenal. Yeah,
that's kind of the dream, honestly, right there. Okay, so he's going to just kill off the Black Knight. He's still leaving Sylvanas on the board, which is a little dicey.
Yeah, at this point.
And here comes Kisstafer swinging to the face.
That was a fast and ruthless. So that was our first mirror match, and it did not disappoint. That was fast and bloodthirsty. Dear God. So Kisstafer tying it up. So now it's 1-1 with apDrop and Kisstafer at a tie.